Good afternoon and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today I am going to show you how to make a potato yeast. Now I've showed you how to make a wild yeast that you just pull out of the air with flour and water, and that you have a liquid culture and you have a sponge culture. This is different. Now this culture is only going to last 2 weeks, if that long. So for people who don't do a lot of baking and you want a shorter time frame, this will be right up your alley. You need exactly, we're going to have exact measurements on this one. I mean, there's no playing around on this, so we don't want to mess this one up. You're going to need 3/4 of a pound of russet potatoes. And we're going to peel, I hate peeling, but I'm going to peel and cut into large chunks, okay? So let me get these started to be peeled and we'll move forward on this. Oh, it's so rare that I peel potatoes. This is so funny for me. Okay, we'll cut that off when we get to it. And I'll get my cutting board, and I'll be right back. Okay, rinse your potatoes off thoroughly. Cutting them in chunks like I told you. And now we are going to add 4 cups of cold water to it, exactly. They also have another sourdough that is just a one-time use. I'll show you how to make that as well. I just started going through them. I would have done that one first for you, this one second, the other one, but because I killed my yeast, I had to bring it back up. We're going to bring this to a boil. And it's interesting because they tell you you're going to bring it to a boil, covered part way, then reduce the heat to medium and cook until the potatoes are falling apart. Then we're going to drain it. And you do not throw the water out. We're going to need it. So let me get my lid on it. And when this part is done, I'll be back. Okay, my potatoes are falling apart. Now they want us to drain it, but we have to reserve the water. So I'm putting a strainer up here over my quart measuring cup, and I'm going to pour it in. Oh, it holds it all. Now they push the potatoes through a strainer or a ricer. I have a ricer, so I'm going to use, no, I just think I'm going to use a strainer. Should be able to push it through. So push your potatoes through the strainer. Through your strainer, if you have a ricer, by all means use a ricer. I'm just showing you, use the back of it with a spoon, and your potatoes are falling apart. You can push them right through, they're coming right through. It's just the screen is a little hot. Yeah, like I said, it's hot. Back of the spoon is the best way to do it. Okay, we got those through the ricer. Well, not the ricer, the strainer. Now they want you to take this potato water and add it to it. Just like that. And we're going to let this get lukewarm because it's really, really hot right now. So we're just going to set it to the side and we'll get to this after. And so we're going to let it cool to lukewarm and then I'll be back. Okay, it's now time to add everything. You need 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Making sure that you know which flours I'm using so you don't get confused. We need 1 tablespoon of sugar. Let me get the yeast out. Now this is bought yeast that you have, just regular active yeast he's recommending, and we need 1 teaspoon of this. Now on the salt, they want 1 teaspoon of a coarse salt. Oh, this is about as coarse as I can get. So, a teaspoon of that, and now they want 2 teaspoons of molasses. I'm using the original. 2 teaspoons, is that what I just said? Yeah. One thing I've learned through my years is always clean edging up your molasses. Or you will find yourself banging it, running hot water on it to get that lid off. Alright, now what they want us to do, now that we've had all that, they want us to whisk this until smooth. The reason they're recommending a whisk is it's not a batter. It's very liquid and you want that flour to mix in with everything else. That's why they're having you do it. And it's very liquid. Just want to make sure I got all the flour and stuff mixed thoroughly. Just about. Okay, now what they want us to do, we're going to have to cover this and let it sit in a warm place for 3 to 6 hours. There goes another towel for me. I might put 2 towels on it to keep it extra warm. Like I tell you, I use my towels. They're used for everything in the house. In the kitchen, I mean, I really use them. All right. Now, this has to sit in a warm place for 3 to 6 hours, as I said. Now, this part I'm going to read, and please listen carefully. Depending on how old your potatoes are and how much liquid they absorb, the yeast may be quite thick. Bubbles may come quick or slow, and it will be an eerie looking thing. If you don't see bubbles, put your ears down and listen for them. The longer you let it sit, the deeper the flavor is going to be. Now I'm going to let mine sit the whole 6 hours. So that'll be 8 o'clock tonight. Now, once we get to that point, they said you can use it right then and there on the spot, but I'm not. I'm going to put mine in a, they say put it into a container with a lid and refrigerator it. That's what I'm doing because I'm going to work on it tomorrow morning. I'm going to make biscuits with this. Okay, and I'm going to make a potato bread as well, and I will be sharing it with you, so I'll be busy tomorrow morning. But so when we get to that point, that'll be it. Now, potato yeast will only keep for about 2 weeks. All right, so they said feeding this yeast to keep it alive, it does not work. This is just a 2 week max. It might die sooner, but that is the max of it. But they said to make sure it's still living, you test it. And this is how you test it. You let it come to room temperature, then you add a pinch of sugar and a tablespoon or two of flour. Now, if it's active, it's going to start bubbling in about 10 minutes, all right? So, in 6 hours, I'm putting mine in the refrigerator in a container with a lid, and I'll see you tomorrow morning because it'll be too late to start baking. So you take care, and part 2, what? Oh man. Part 2 will be tomorrow morning, and we'll make some biscuits and some potato bread. Bye-bye.